what they don't tell you about beekeeping. And I hope you follow along. I hope I can present this in a clear way tonight, because the truth behind what separates struggling beekeepers from the ones that thrive. That's what I want to talk about tonight. It's almost like the secret sauce. It's almost like the secret weapon, because some of you probably know that by now that these beekeepers seem to know what they're doing. They never have a problem, and everything they touch turns to gold. Where I'm beekeeping and I'm constantly filled with problems and frustrations, and everything I touch turns to a big lump of coal. And maybe if that's how you feel, well, you just don't have the secret sauce. You don't have the secret weapon tonight. So I'm going to tell you what it is. Well, beekeeping, first of all, is not paint by numbers. Now, I never liked painting by numbers as a kid in school. We had the opportunity to do that a few times. I don't like painting between the lines, okay? So that didn't work for me. Painting by numbers is one thing, but beekeeping is like painting by the numbers. There is no manual to beekeeping. There are books. Sure, there are books on biology, honeybee biology. There are books on every element of beekeeping, I think, of subject of beekeeping has a book written about it. Swarm control, raising queens, and all that. But really, it comes down to it, there's not a manual. Hey, compare it to raising children. There's a lot of books about raising children, but there's really not a manual, right? Because why? Every child is different. Every hive is different. Every climate changes. And one thing about beekeeping, you can just bet your bottom dollar on, things are going to change. Your hive is going to change, and your climate's going to change. Something's going to change. So there's no manual. And this is what I really want to drill into your thinking tonight is bees are going to do what bees want to do. All right, let's do it. Let's say that together. Bees are going to do what bees want to do. Now, I think at times I can control them, but really I've learned all of these years that when I go out there and look at a hive, they're in control. They're doing what they want to do. I just open up a hive and see how I can gently nudge them in the right direction that I'd love for them to go in to be healthier. But they're doing it all, right? They're the ones doing it. So we need to get that in our head. So in other words, you can't go and paint by numbers when it comes to beekeeping. So a wrong teaching approach, I believe, in beekeeping, and it's one that's very, very common, and that is copy me. People will stand up front, and I speak at a lot of conferences. I speak at a lot of clubs, and I love both. But oftentimes before I speak at a club, they're chit-chatting and talking to their members. And I'm amazed at how many new beekeepers are in beekeeping clubs. Like they'll say, how many new people we have here tonight? There'll be 30, 40 people, half of them or more that are, brand new beekeepers. And then somebody will stand up front and say, this is what you need to do on this date. Shake them in. Then you need to add this. Then you need to do this. It's paint by numbers. You need to do that. I think it's good advice. It's teaching. But here's the deal. When you start, it doesn't allow that information doesn't allow for an uh-oh moment. And beekeeping is filled mainly with uh-oh moments, right? So you can say, hey, copy what I do and it will go fine for you. No, it won't, because your bees aren't copying their bees. It's, if you just copy what somebody else told you to do without understanding or asking why, I think you're in trouble. And so let's get out of that frame of mind. And, as a YouTube content creator, I make a lot of videos. And, I never say copy what I do. In fact, I always say, do things the way you want to. I'm here to give you information. I'm here to teach you about beekeeping. I'm here to guide you. But if you want to do it differently, I don't own the corner market of bee knowledge. I've never said that. You can do it the way you want to. I'll love you. I'll respect you, unless you're just totally wrong. And then I'm going to say, that's probably not a good idea. Okay. But let's get a little bit deeper. Are you thinking? Are you copying? So it's easier. Like I'm saying, I'm on YouTube, right? I'm making beekeeping videos. So if you just copy me, my videos are only what, 12 to an hour, 60 minutes long of me walking through a hive, and that hive's different than your hive, right? My weather's different from your weather. Anybody you watch on YouTube, they are not guaranteed that if you copy them, that you'll have the same results that they have just shown you, right? I think you might think, oh, they did it, so I'll do it. And I'll get the results they got. And that doesn't work in anything, right? I mean, really, not with an animal, and bees are in the animal kingdom. So here's what they don't tell you. Common sense beats memorization when it comes to beekeeping. Oh, yeah, you can memorize. I have to memorize so many things in beekeeping. I have to memorize Latin names. I have to memorize diseases, their Latin name, the scientific name of, I mean, I have to memorize all of that. And some of that I oftentimes say to myself, why do I memorize this? Because I can just look it up. I have to memorize every little part on a bee, right? And I forget. I'm getting old. I can't remember every little part anymore. So I have to go back and learn and keep memorizing. Well, what good does that do you? That's small print. You probably can't see it, but beekeeping is really detective work, friends. So in other words, it's not about memorizing. There's a few things you can memorize that can really help you. I believe all of us should know these things. Get your pen and pencil ready. All of us should know the life cycle of a honeybee. Really, we should. And we need to know the life cycle, which are most of them are similar, between the queen, the worker, and the drone. So we need to know the life cycles. And what I mean by that is, whether you get a poster, that's how I learned it in the early days. I got a bee poster that showed the life cycle of the honeybee, and I stuck it on my wall. It's still on my wall to this day. And so you just learn it, all right? You learn at what age does a bee do this and that. That's essential. That is going to arm you for so many things to understand your bees. So in other words, you're going to know that a worker bee emerges from the egg. She'll emerge as a worker bee on day 21. A queen, from her egg being laid and her being raised as a queen, she'll emerge on day 16 as an adult queen. And your drones, after the egg's laid, they'll emerge as an adult drone on day 24. And then you memorize the egg, the larvae stage. How long are they an egg? How long are they a larvae? How long are they a pupae? Which they're really similar. I mean, you don't have to really get down to the exact date. It doesn't really matter a ton. Just being able for you to look in a hive, and I've taught before on LiveStream, how old is that larvae? That all that information is so critical to you. But then also to know what bees do after they become adult, what they do at various ages. I think that's really important too, right? Like if you're raising queens, you need to know that you need nurse bees between the age of 6 and 12 days old, because they produce raw jelly for your grafts that you give them. Bees that are older than that, they get into 7 to 12 days old, they become more wax producers and doing things around the house. So if you can just really get into knowing those simple things that bees do at different times in their life, then it will help you when you make inspections. So what date on the calendar tells you to make a split? Yeah. When does a bee club tell you to make a split? Or when does your Facebook group tell you to make a split? And the answer to all of that is, who is better to ask than your bees, right? You don't get it from a calendar. You don't get it from a Facebook group. You don't get it necessarily from your bee club, though you hope there are intelligent people there that can really give you some knowledge about it. When it comes right down to it, your climate, your bees are different. So your answer has to come out of common sense, critical thinking skills. So you decide based on who you are, new or advanced beekeeper. Are they crowded? Answering the question of, when do I make a split? Are they crowded? Do they really seem like there's a lot of bees in there? And do they have drones? Because if I make a split, I'm going to probably need to raise a queen, or they're going to raise a queen. I need my queens to mate with a drone. And do they have queen cells in the hive? If they don't have queen cells, they're not crowded, there's no drones, you should not split them. And are there available nectar resources? In other words, if I make that split, can both of the hives, one that I'm splitting and one that's the overwinter colony, do they have enough to go out there and get stuff that they need all the rest of the year? Or am I doing it too early and there's nothing for them to eat? So see, it's better for you to ask the questions and then for you to find the answers than for you to just get a paint by color date. Because, I hear people all the time telling me that they split too early and their bees died. They did something too early and it didn't work. So that's why we have to know who is better to ask than the bees. Have you ever thought about that? You're asking other people so many questions, but your bees have the answer. And the more you know about bees, the more they give you that answer. That's amazing. I'm pumped and excited. This is cool stuff. I can't read. My slide went over the top of my words in it. So type yes in the chat if you've ever been told something against that advice, you went ahead and did something different because your gut told you to. All right. Type yes in the chat if you've ever had a time when somebody gave you some advice on what to do with your bees, but you decided something in your gut, that critical thinking skill, that common sense told you, I'm not going to do what they told me. That doesn't make any sense. And why am I getting that advice like that? That's the way it goes sometimes. I understand it's kind of tough, isn't it? Because that's happened to me. When I first started beekeeping, I got so much bad advice. There wasn't the internet back 30 years ago. There wasn't a lot of books. There wasn't a lot of research like it is now. There wasn't a lot of classes, all that stuff. There wasn't online courses. And we're all just, you start out and you just fumble and make a mess, And I got some advice that didn't work. So here's a secret weapon. And critical thinking means connecting the dots of beekeeping. So in other words, not just spotting eggs, you got to check your hive every 2 weeks, make sure you got eggs and, your queen's good. We hear that. That's paint by numbers. Open the hive, got eggs, close it. I'm good. That's painting by numbers. And so that's instead what you got to do is not just spot eggs, but you got to ask, how old are the larvae that I'm looking at? Do I have fresh 1 day old eggs? And what's the pattern that I'm seeing? Do I have a lot of eggs? Do I have a lot of capped over pupae, that solid brood pattern? What does this tell me about the queen? I want to know how well my queen's doing. So I want to evaluate her work, both in how many eggs I see, larvae that I see, and I want to know, do I have a solid brood pattern? All of us live by the solid brood pattern. We kind of look at a solid brood pattern and go, whew, I feel better now. So this is how you go from being a bee haver to a beekeeper. Now, let's do a critical thinking skills tonight. Let's do this together. All right. Let's exercise our common sense. Friends, I got to tell you, beekeeping really is common sense. I've had long discussions with a lot of people about this. Common sense and critical thinking skills are weakening, I think, among parts of the population. I don't know what that means, but I feel like I've talked about this before, but critical thinking skills, common sense is lacking a lot. And so in beekeeping, we need common sense. We need to be able to solve problems on the fly. We can't always run back to the book. We can't always get to the mentor. So let's do a little activity. What if you inspect and find no eggs, no queen cells, and no queen? All right. What if you open a hive and voila, most of your frames look like a picture right here? What are you going to do? What is the single thing that you should do? What's the single thing? Go ahead and leave it in the chat. What should you do if you open up your hive and you see that? You got bees, you got honey, you got resources. But wow, what do you do? And I'm going to tell you how, in a minute, I'll tell you how I learned this. I didn't learn it in books. I didn't learn it from others. I learned it by experimenting and trial and error. Here's what you do. Are you ready? Critically thinking, you wait. That is so good, isn't it? You wait. Now, I'll explain this, okay? A lot of times we feel rushed. oh my gosh, my bees are going to die because I don't see any eggs. I don't see any pollen, or I don't see this. I don't see that. Yikes. I'm failing as a beekeeper. I'm horrible. My bees are dying. What do I do? Who do I call? I got to hurry and do something. I've been mentoring people for since, gosh, I can't remember anymore. I have B Team 6. A lot of you are beekeepers, and you're part of my B Team 6 program, my coaching program. Thank you so much. But mentored people for a long time. Some of them have called me really in a panic. They have emailed me in a panic. I've stopped them from burning hives that did not need to be burned, boxes. I've stopped them from doing all sorts of things because they panicked. And I told them, yeah, wait. Really? I can wait? Yeah, I can wait. Let me explain why we're waiting. If you wait 10 days because you don't see a queen, you don't see queen cells, it might be, and it usually is, to be honest with you, especially this time of the year, all through summer, it might be that they replaced the queen while you didn't notice it. And they raised the supersede your queen, and you happen to open it up after she emerged as a virgin, walked around. I made a video last week about that. And so you did an inspection with a virgin queen in there, and you didn't notice her, or she was on her mating flight. Yes, that happens so often. I really think when you don't see anything like that, wait 10 days. Now you wait 10 days because you got that virgin queen possibly in there, or you missed a newly mated queen. She hasn't started laying yet, and you were panicking over not seeing eggs, and you didn't even actually see the mated queen in your inspection. So she's there, but she's just not laying eggs quite yet. It takes a few days, a week for her to start laying. And then if you wait 10 days after your panic moment, just calm down, wait 10 days. Here's what happens. When you go back in 10 days, you might see eggs. They're harder to see. So you might see larvae because you've waited 10 days, right? And if you wait 10 days, you might even see cat brood, because if she laid an egg the day that you were in there, right after you closed up, then about 8 days is when they cap them over. See, if you know that critical thinking knowledge stuff, you go back in 10 days and you're like, okay, if she started laying, if I got cat brood, that means she started laying the day I closed up. Isn't that cool? This stuff is fun, man. This is better than a crossword puzzle. I mean, this is fun stuff. Bees are just so fun to track and learn from like this. Yeah, you just wait. So don't panic. Just wait. Now, want to know how I got better at beekeeping? I don't know. I finally summarized all this. I've probably misspoken about how I got better. I mean, I got better by 30 years of just doing it wrong, making mistakes, I should say, learning from mistakes. And no one told me this. I didn't read this in a book. I never went to a conference and a speaker told me this, but I stopped looking for recipes and I started asking better questions. Woo! I'm telling you right here, that dog will hunt. That's money right there, people. That works in life. Yeah, it works everywhere. I stopped looking for somebody else to tell me. I stopped looking for somebody else to show me. And I just decided I need to ask better questions. And I see this a lot in some of my B Team 6 members that I have. They are really asking really good questions. I can tell that they're wanting to know more, not just a quick and easy answer. Okay, I'll go do that. Shoo, thanks. But a really deep why. Why am I doing that? I don't understand. What makes that? Why do I have to do that? What's wrong? I want to learn more. So I learned to ask better questions. So yeah, I read books, but everything I read in books, I challenged that. I'm like, really? Not gonna totally grasp that right yet. I took beekeeping courses early on. But even though they told me this and that and that and this, I went home and experimented to see for myself. And I'll tell you what, I started mentoring others after I had maybe a decade under my belt or so of beekeeping. And when I started mentoring other people like you, like I mentor you tonight here, guiding you tonight, I learned twice as much mentoring people as I ever did any other way. Because there are times when you're helping other people, right, that you have to say, oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to go find out. So beekeeping is not rocket science. It's brain science. You got to use your brain. They don't teach you that in class. They don't teach you that in courses. They don't write that in books a lot of times. You know, some people just want to sell you a hive and a package because they want you to be a new beekeeper so they can sell products. I get it, but I think, I heard somebody tell me the other day, I've had two people tell me over my last 30 years. One lady, I'm not going to say her name, but she, you might know her, but she said, I won't sell one of my nukes to anybody unless they first tell me they've taken a beekeeping class. They prove they've taken a class, I'll sell them a nucleus. Wow. And another person said, oh gosh, what was it? Let's see. Can't remember exactly, so I'm not going to go with that one. But he had the same kind of thing too. Unless a beekeeper can prove this, I won't sell them a queen or something like that. So you got to use your brain. And I know we get used. It's easy because let's face it, we don't really have to use our brain as much as we used to because we have so much electronics in front of us. You can ask all the electronic devices, ChatGPT. You can ask, so much stuff from the internet that it kind of makes us soft in using brain power all the time. So let's get back to using our brain. So the thing they don't tell you, like here's an example, the real tool you need isn't a smoker, it's your brain. And yeah, here's where you really succeed. Here's the secret sauce. You waited for it. It's having a curious brain. So it's curiosity. You will become a great, magnificent beekeeper the more curious you are. A curious beekeeper doesn't just ask, what's happening in my hive. They ask things like, why is this happening? Why? And they find out why. And what led up to this? What created this problem, And then they ask, what might happen next? Here's what I'm seeing. And they look into the future. They kind of figure out what's going to happen next. They don't wait and ask. See, they don't ask somebody to tell me what's happening. They don't ask, what do I do? They don't ask what's going to happen next. They ask themselves and they use their brain and they dig and they figure it out. So they don't rush to conclusions. They invest in research. That's crucial. Now, a practical tip. Here's something I want you to do. All right. Please, I'm asking you to do this to become a better beekeeper. You don't have to if you don't want to. If your life's hard and you just are here to enjoy the live stream, that's okay. But here, if you're really into beekeeping, you want to get better, I want you to do this. After every inspection, jot down one question. Now, you make up your own question, but I'll give you some primers. It could be, you might ask this, why did they build drone comb here? In my last video, did you see all that drone comb between the boxes? I even told you why that happened. But anyway, you have to investigate and say, what's the measurement of bee space and why is bee space missing there? And I'm going to have to look at my boxes and make a decision what's wrong. Okay. Another question would be, why did the bees ignore this pollen patty, but they devoured the other one? That's cool. That's the kind of stuff you look at, right? You're like, well, I'm going to investigate. Why did they draw comb only on one side of this foundation? And I see that sometimes in the green drone comb, the mite trap that I've talked about in my videos before. I oftentimes see that they draw one side of the frame only. So you ask yourself, I'm going to research that. I'm going to figure out why would they only do one side? You might say, I'm just giving you primers. You come up with your own question. But after every inspection, I want you to ask yourself one question, okay? Jot down one question. And then I want you to go dig. I want you to research it. Yeah, talk to your mentors, read a book, find out whatever you need to do. But let that one question turn into a growth moment in beekeeping, because when you do, curiosity is a superpower that transforms beekeeping from a hobby into a mastery. Woo! I get excited about that. Man, that's awesome, isn't it? Curiosity. Have you ever thought about that? Hey, when you're little, when you're a kid, you watch little kids. We have a lot of grandchildren, and some of them are young, some of them are older, but the young ones, they come into my house and they are so curious that they have to open every drawer, turn over every leaf, and look under every little thing, right? They pull up my air vents and look in the air vent hole. I mean, kids are curious, right? It's crazy. But that's how kids learn, right? Why should we as adults, and I'm 65 and I'm still curious. Let's get curious about beekeeping, all right? That's fun and exciting for me. Wow. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight about the secret sauce they don't tell you. And that is about really being curious and taking it upon yourself to use your brain, use your own superpower to really ask good questions. Awesome. All right. Well, speaking of questions, let's let you ask some questions. All right. Okay. Can I brush bees off from frames until I get better at doing inspections? You can always brush off bees. You can use a turkey feather or a bee brush to brush off bees from the frames. So you're just having a problem looking into the cells, aren't you? Because there's too many bees on there. Yeah. I don't recommend blowing on bees, although I see people blow on bees and I don't like it because I feel like our breath might make them a little agitated. But maybe just moving them around with your finger. In my last video, I moved bees around. I was not wearing gloves during my inspection, and I moved them around off the frame gently with my fingers. You can do that. Yeah. Hey, Curtis, nice to have you here from Oklahoma. I noticed a lot of people having slots in the top board. How necessary is that? Top board meaning what? You got your top box, you got your inner cover, you got your top cover. You're saying they're putting them in the top, maybe, but no. A lot of people have put top vents in the summertime, thinking that they'll get more honey up there. The bees will fly in and out the top of the box. That has never worked out well. And if you leave it like that, they're going to start robbing up there in the fall. Thanks, Jim, for your donation. By the way, the live stream does cost a few pennies. So those of you that can help out, we give away things. We have guest speakers, and that costs a little bit of money. So we appreciate donations to keep the live stream going. A mission takes money. So I appreciate your donations tonight. So I'm very new to beekeeping. Well, thank you for being a beekeeper. Got 3 nukes on March the 25th. 2 of them seem to be ignoring the whole left side. They're building all to the right of the hive and aren't growing much. That's a good question. Here we go. Critical thinking skills. You got to ask yourself, why is this happening? What's going on? And so a lot of times you might think maybe they're not getting enough food. It sounds like they're not drawing out the comb fast enough. So they need to metabolize and make wax. So maybe you start feeding them so they can have more wax production. Maybe there's you started them pretty early. Sounds like you might start thinking about waxing frames, adding wax to those frames. That's going to help. Thanks, Wayne, for your super sticker. Give them a little extra wax on those frames too. There's a lot of things you can do. Just use common sense and say, okay, what can I do to help bees? I can feed them. I can help them by giving them more wax that they need to build out. I might even kind of separate a couple of the really good frames and put a blank frame in the middle. See if that will spur them on. Things like that. Critical thinking. Yeah. Hey, Orlando, I installed my first package on Monday. Oh, good. Now it's Thursday. Tuesday, they started foraging. Oh, that's always great. I love that. I mean, I love it. Yeah. When I see them get to work so fast. There's no drawn comb. Does that mean that they eat all the forage? Same thing. Are you feeding them? I would start feeding them. Always feed your bees if they're drawing out comb 1-to-1 sugar water. Yep. Good question. A lot of new beekeepers starting this year. I know it's been good weather here lately. Wow. Oh, Eastern Tennessee, you got 3 queens. No attendance in cage with queens. Cellar. That question went away. I don't know if it's going to come back or not. Maybe we're done with that question. All right. Here we go. Seller let me keep shipping box with a few nurse bees. Okay. Put hive fondant in. Wax. Okay, till Saturday when I introduce. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around what's going on. It sounds like you might have got a battery box. Is that what you got? And those queens were in a battery box, a shipping box with a few nurse bees feeding it maybe? Will they be okay till Saturday when I introduce them? Whew, that's a long time to go. If they don't have many nurse bees, I would go, if that was me, I'm just going to go out there and grab a frame of open brood from my hive, and I'm going to sweep bees in to help those onto those those queens. Like they're in a separate cage. I'm going to get my nurse bees on those queen cells. It don't matter. My bees will feed them. Oh, battery box. Yeah. So you got to get your nurse bees off another hive if you got it. Open frame, you can spare some nurse bees off an larvae. See young larvae, that's nurse bees. Take them over, brush them or shake them onto those 3 queen cells or queen cages, and they'll feed them till Saturday. There you go. Got that sorted out. I was worried there for a minute. All right. Good evening, Mr. David. I'm standing here cleaning frames with 2-year-olds. Wait a minute. From 2 years ago. Okay. And I'm wondering how much of this odd code dirty foundation would you give back to the colony? I understand what you're saying. Old comb and dirty comb. If it's really dark and black, I don't like to use it again. I like to give them, anytime you can afford to give bees new comb and replace old comb, you're going to be better off for it. Yeah. If you're going to do it, test it out, see what happens. Yeah. Thank you, Mike, for your donation tonight. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like my videos. You installed your package today. When should I do a mite treatment and what's the best use? First timer here. Everybody has a different opinion, Mike. That's totally up to you, right? You could take one side of the fence and say, I'm going to wait till they get a little bigger because they don't have any drawn comb yet, where mites are going to reproduce on capped over pupae yet. I'm just going to hold my course, let them get a little stronger before I kill 300 bees on an alcohol wash. On the other hand, or the other side of the fence, many people say while they're broodless would be a great time to put some OA, to vape them with OA in there. So it's really your call. Hey, Sally, thank you for your donation, and I appreciate your kind words tonight. Yep. Oh, we helped you this week. Well, thank you. Yeah, we help so many beekeepers, hundreds of beekeepers a week. I'm working hard. That's my 9 to 5, helping beekeepers. Yeah, it's fun. Hey, Doreen, how are you doing tonight? Good to see you. Bees, brood, queen, and top box, leave them, or how should I go about moving them down? Well, Doreen, let's think about this. We're going to use critical thinking skills and kind of common sense. If we want our queen to lay in the bottom box, there's a lot of ways we can do it. I think if I really, really wanted to do it firmly and make sure it happens, I'm going to pick up my queen with my fingers. I'm going to put her in the bottom deep, and I'm going to hold her down there with the queen excluder for about, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Leave her down there. Make her lay down there. You could do that. Or you're going to wait. Remember I said wait 10 days? Maybe they'll go down there. Beekeeper MD, thanks for your donation tonight. Hey, Mark, has anyone ever used the CO2 method to test for mites? If so, how has it worked? Not only have I used it, but I have made a video on it. I've made 2 videos on this. People, if you ask a question, I've made a video on it. I've been on YouTube since 2008. Okay, so I made a video. You can watch my videos. Did it work? It did. Thank you, Dean, for your donation. It does work. In my video, I don't remember now. It was a couple of years ago, I think, but I wasn't as happy with the outcome. It doesn't ensure that the mites are going to drop off. You won't get the accuracy. My opinion, you won't get the accuracy of an alcohol wash. Yeah. Well, Brian Hill, member of the YouTube channel for 10 months. Thank you, Brian. I've learned that 2 ways for mite treatment is to use GDC and trap the queen for a week. Oh, green drone comb, I guess. Yep, trap the queen for a week. Would it be a good idea to trap the queen in a green drone comb for a week, or would that encourage swarming? I don't think that would encourage swarming. No, because there wouldn't be overly crowded if you trapped her in that location for a week. I think you'd be fine. That's not a bad idea. I've heard other people talk about that. Trapping her in one of those cages. Here, I got one. I'll be right back. I'm going to lean. Oh, yeah, one of these, like these, it's a single frame cage. You could put your green drone comb in here, right? And let her lay on that green, force her to lay on the green drone comb in one of these. A better bee sells these. I think Better Bee is the only place, maybe. Or somebody told me somebody else does, but I get them from Better Bee. All right. All right. Second year beekeeper, getting new package next week. How long do you recommend before introducing the queen? Well, when you install your package, introduce the queen the same day you install your package. Leave the candy in there. Let them eat through the candy. Don't do a direct release. Yep. Let them get used to her. What, if any, considerations should I keep in mind when collecting propolis with a trap? Time of year, race of bees, strength of colony, zone 9B, third year beekeeper. Simple way to do it. I made a video on it. Put the it's a little, it looks like a queen excluder. It's a, yeah, I've got one. All right, hang on. I'm gonna look back here. Here's one. It's almost like a master beekeeper test. Is this a propolis trap or is this a queen excluder, right? This is the propolis trap. It's got more bars in it, by the way. That's why you know the difference. I don't have a queen excluder on me, but this is a plastic propolis trap you put on the very top of the hive. It works good. I think it works best for me personally after the honey flow, kind of like late summer, fall. And what I do, and in my video, I put this on a hive and I cracked the lid where daylight shined in a little bit. And the bees didn't like it, so they could see daylight through here, and they propolis this, and then you freeze it, and then you take it out and do that, and it makes a lot of propolis for you. I need somebody just to stand here and hand me things, you know. Thank you, Marianne Livingston. Appreciate it. Let's have one more question, then we'll spin the wheel. Hi, David. I made a rookie mistake. We all have, and we will again. I'm sure I make plenty of them continually. While marking my queen today, the ink messed up and got on her wing, and I got a little bit on her head. Will the workers clean it up? Will she be rejected? Yeah, Sally, the answer to that is going to be told to you in 10 days. Wait 10 days, drop back in. Is she okay? So anyway, hey, if you're marking a queen, by the way, let me give you a bit of advice, everybody. Hey, listen up here. Let's pretend I got that to give away. Here, look, I got a pen here. So let's say this is the queen. A lot of people mark a queen like this. I used to do it like this. Your marking pen, and you dab the paint on, and the paint will just run all over her. You know, oh my gosh. So hold the queen like this if you can, and paint her where the ink is not running forward or down. You paint her like that. Daub it on there. Test your pens, people, on something else like, you know, on the side of your wooden box. Test that pen where you can get that first big blob out of the way, and then you can dab it gently. Yeah, she'll probably be okay. She's mated. She doesn't need that wing anyway, or her eyes that much. Hey, thanks, Mike. We await your next visit to Southern California. Some people think I just am like a rock star and I book places. I book coliseums like a rock star. You know, I'm not Metallica. I'm not going around singing and stuff. I only go places where I'm invited. So if you want me to come to Southern California, you're going to have to talk to state California, talk to beekeepers out there, and they're going to have to ask me to come. That's how beekeeping works. We don't have agents that book places for us. All right, let's do the spin the wheel. I love to speak at clubs and state conferences too. It's really fun. Well, it's crowded in here. Gonna boot me out. All right. Are you guys ready? Gonna spin the wheel, see what we get up to tonight. And wow, I hope it's something fun and doesn't embarrass me. Oh, I'm okay being embarrassed. I really am. I've kind of just gotten used to being embarrassed. Oh, we got so close to a personal question, but instead it's a 30-minute Zoom meeting. Robbie. It's like, Robbie, tell us what they're going to get, Robbie. Yeah, 30-minute Zoom meeting. So what you're going to do is you're going to leave hashtag Zoom in the comment. And that way, whoever wins the hashtag Zoom, I will actually coordinate with you a 30-minute Zoom meeting where we can talk just like this, just me and you. Thank you, El, for your donation tonight. So it's fun. I've had a great time having these Zoom meetings with the live stream. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. It's just my way of reaching out, sitting down with you for a little bit and talking. So hashtag Zoom is what you're going to leave in the comment section. And then Robbie will spin the wheel on the software, and the software will pick a winner to be in the Zoom meeting. I'm going to spin this one more time in a minute too, because I'd like for I like for it to land on personal. I like answering personal questions. That's fun. I do want to thank you guys for donating. If you don't want to donate on the live stream tonight, you can always check out our website at honeybeesonline.com. And there's a live stream donation button there. You can do that if that's easier for you. A lot of you do that. So thank you. A lot of you get recognized here by making a donation. And those of you that leave a donation on our website, it's greatly appreciated. Well, thank you, Rebecca, for joining our YouTube channel. A lot of people join the channel to support the channel, either as a Beak Squad ambassador or a nectar novice. So that's pretty cool. And I meet every now and again with them. All right. Let's get back to Greg's question. Oh, let me ask his question before you spin, Robbie. Okay. Picking up my 4 packages tomorrow. I have leftover capped honey from the other hive. Can I keep the honey on when I install the packages? Absolutely. Go for it. That will help them out. They'll be happy. Yep. All right. Let's let her go, Robbie. Let's see who's going to win tonight. A Zoom meeting with me. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. Great to see a large audience here. Doreen. All right, Doreen, I look forward to talking with you soon. Doreen, you need to email us within 24 hours, beaksquadwinner@gmail.com, scrolling across your screen, Doreen. So be sure and email us, and that way my staff, my people will work with your people to work out a date when we can get together and have that 30-minute Zoom meeting. So congratulations. All right, let's do her again. See what happens this time. Last one, okay? I do have a giveaway. I'm going to give away something, whether it lands on a giveaway or not. Oh, bee philosophy, beekeeping philosophy. All right. So here's my take on a little bit of philosophy real quick on beekeeping. And that is, beekeeping, we learn a lot from our bees because the honeybee is a super organism made up of single bees. They all work together, and it's awesome to watch them. How they get along, right? They all work together. But if you look at what the whole colony does, not just for themselves as a big, strong colony, but look what they do to the ecosystem around them. Look what they do for pollination. Look what they do for how they pollinate all the grasses, the fruits and everything, and what that does to the ecosystem, right? So they're actually taking care of cows that eat the flowers that bees pollinated. And so everything that a little tiny bee does has a profound effect in a really much broader area beyond their hive, beyond their little piece of property where you keep them on. They're actually improving the entire ecosystem in some way. Tie that over to humans. Every little thing that we do has an impact, a ripple effect. And I really do believe in that ripple effect because over the course of my life, I've helped a lot of people. And I've noticed that ripple effect in life can really just spur somebody on. A simple word that we say or do can actually save a life. It can actually change a mind from doing something bad to now being productive in society. And I tell you, folks, we really need people that are like that, more kind and more giving. And let's face it, the more we kind of help out people and the more we're kinder, we're much happier. All right, we got a giveaway tonight. The giveaway is going to be the feeding additives that we sell with our feeder board. Okay, so it's Honeybee Healthy Amino Bee Booster and our pollen substitute powder, protein powder. So we're going to give that away tonight. One of these packs, you can add it to your 1-to-1 sugar water. 1 teaspoon of this, directions are on there, 1 teaspoon of the powder and 1 teaspoon each of this per quart of 1-to-1 sugar water. Somebody just woke up. What do you say? What? Okay, I'll say it again. I heard you. Let me get a pen. I heard that. Okay, 1 teaspoon of this powder, little teaspoon, 1-to-1 sugar water, a quart of it. 1 teaspoon of these. So a teaspoon of each of this and a quart of 1-to-1 sugar water. Mix it up. You want to use warm water. You don't need to boil it, and that will work good. So we'll give that away. That's going to be fun. All right. Feeder, hashtag feeder, or feed, I'm sorry, hashtag feed if you want to win the feeding additives to help your bees stay healthier. It made a difference for my bees, because bees don't just eat sugar, they need the proteins as well. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you that we're really close to 165,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Wow. What do we need? 42 of you to subscribe? Come on, help me out. I need 42 subscribers, 42 new subscribers. So anytime you're watching a video like this or any of my videos, I do appreciate you giving a comment or a thumbs up or subscribing. It helps a lot. Appreciate it. All right, Robbie, let's have the drawing. Thanks, Rich, for your donation tonight. Appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Yep. I think it's great that so many of you join us every Thursday night. All right, who's going to win hashtag feed tonight? Let's see some names stroll by. Hey, Homer. There's JR. That's good to see you here tonight. Oh, look at those names. John, Debbie, Landon, Pam, Dean. Shannon is the winner. Hey, Shannon, be sure and email us, Shannon, with your address so we can get this shipped out to you. And again, all the donations help us to continue to fund the cost of the live stream, and the donations help with giveaways and guest speakers and all that stuff. So really appreciate it a lot. You guys are the best. Wow. I can't believe that we have had 59 minutes now or of more fun than any beekeeper should be allowed to have. I had a lot of fun tonight. I really did. I needed the break. It's been a busy week. You guys have cheered me up tonight. I appreciate you so much. I'm just looking at the comments here. Wow, you guys are just great. So yeah, Adam. Oh, thanks for the Demarre method. I did it, and wow, they're packing in the nectar. Yeah, that's a good video. Did you see me writing backwards in that video on that piece of screen? That was good, wasn't it? Not many people can write backwards that fast. All right, guys, I want to say thank you. Big shout out to all of you for being here. I know it's a time for you to set aside every Thursday and be here with us. I respect your time, and I really do appreciate you and your dedication to support my channel. You mean a lot to me, and I continue to work hard for you. That's my job. I'm working hard for beekeepers, a common backyard, everyday beekeeper. I've got your back. You got me here. I'm on your side of the fence. We're working together. All right, I got you covered. We're going to be all right. So this is cool stuff. Appreciate you. I love you. And even if you are going through a hard time or a dark moment, hey, it's good. Thanks for watching. We're going to make it through together. Good night, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.